Welcome to Facing the Middle East, our program that uncovers news in context. It's the place you meet people you want to know. President Donald Trump met recently with Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. It was a defining moment for the kingdom and might be a signal that warmer relations between Israel and Saudi Arabia are at hand. On today's edition, Yariv Becher, Vice President of Business Development at Startup Nation Central, joins us to break down the regional partnerships now taking shape, what Israel hopes to secure from Saudi Arabia, and what Riyadh stands to gain from a thaw with the Jewish state. For many travelers visiting Israel, it's routine, wartime aside. But for many Muslims, particularly if their communities shun Israel, the risks can be severe. In a bold step, a small group, including an imam from New York, chose to visit anyway to show solidarity. It's a segment you don't want to miss. Israeli tech continues to push the limits, and one company is now reshaping the way Israeli soldiers map and plan their missions. The Media Lion's Gabriel Caladro takes you inside their headquarters. The 7th Christian Media Summit wrapped up in Jerusalem, and Nitzan, director of Israel's government press office, has been the driving force behind bringing leading Christian media figures to the Holy Land. Misinformation was one of the central themes at this year's conference. Let's hear what Nitzan had to say.
I asking myself lots of times, how come we are so good in the battles, in terms of the war, in terms of we are winning our enemies, but in terms of the press, in terms of the new media, we are in a low level. I'm asking myself why. We are a startup nation. We are good in lots of other things in terms of technology, in terms of lots of other things, including AI. How come in terms of the press, the Hamas is better than us? And this is our main challenge, how we will switch it, and we will win also in terms of the digital press, media, etc.
Director Chen was asked how he engages with those who don't share the enthusiasm many evangelicals have for the Jewish state.
At the end of the day, Jesus was a Jew, and therefore I really believe that the entire Christianity world believe in the Bible. Therefore, they should believe that the people of Israel are, the land of Israel belongs to the Jewish people. And you know what? The last 2 years remind us that we are in a biblical period. And therefore, I really think that the Christians around the world are like our ambassadors toward Israel. And we are not alone in this conflict. And then at the end of the day, they will support us.
One highlight of the summit came when Chen announced that the NRB, under CEO Troy Miller, will bring a major delegation next year. Before we go further, I want to share what's on my mind. Anti-Semitism is not receding, it's escalating. From New York to Toronto, Milan to Prague, we're seeing open hostility towards Jews becoming socially acceptable. Loud demonstrations, aggressive slogans, boycotts of Israeli goods, attacks on synagogues, and worse, physical assaults that have already taken lives. The organization Punishment for Justice is offering a $50,000 bounty for the killing of what it calls specific Israeli academic targets. This group is posting private information about the whereabouts of these academics, some living in Israel, others in the U.S. and the United Kingdom. It's one especially dangerous example, and it's not isolated. The list is long, and Jewish organizations are confronting these threats head-on. It's a dark moment to witness such hatred toward Jews spreading across the globe, rooted in ignorance. We need civil discourse, education, and tolerance in far greater supply. There are allies of the Jewish people in the Jewish state who are ready to stand up against the rising wave of prejudice and hostility. Task forces and community action are already in motion, but it will take real leadership to confront these revived horrors of history and to bury them where they belong. Sounding the alarm isn't enough. Action must follow.
I don't know if you know the story of our trip, but the story of our trip is because of Mamdani. There was a debate held by the Democratic candidate a few months ago. the moderators asked the candidates on stage, should you get elected, where will you travel first? All the candidates said they will go to the Holy Land, as usual, as the right thing to do. Mamdani says he's not coming. He's going to stay in New York because Mamdani is known to be anti-Israel. And to us, if you're anti-Israel, you're anti-Semitic. When Mamdani said that, I told my wife, if Mamdani refused to go to Israel and we don't challenge it, this will become normalized. We created what we call unbreakable bond. This trip here is called unbreakable bond between the state of New York and the Holy Land.
Several Muslim faith leaders and educators were determined to come on a solidarity mission to Israel, despite Mamdani's anti-Israel stance and in the desire to show the world that interfaith moderate voices still exist. Among them was Iman Nuruddin Shakir Mustafa from Dallas, Texas, whose marriage to a Christian woman makes him a living example of interfaith dialogue and practice. For him, coexistence is not a theory but daily life, shaped by decades of shared experience.
We're taught that in the Quran that we should not do that. And we're one humanity. Interfaith, like I explained earlier, that in '93 my wife and I got involved in Thanksgiving Square in Dallas, Texas, and that was the whole makeup of building that. It's like a mosque in the middle of downtown Dallas where different religions can come, learn about each other. And then what came out of that, they find they had more in common. You know, anytime you go to a meeting and you have the Jews bring the Torah, the Christian brings the Bible, the Muslims bring the Quran, and they teach about the effect that Moses had on their community. People say, wow, I never saw it that way.
Nova survivor Niv Reuveni spoke to the group at the site of one of the October 7th's most brutal scenes, when rows of photographs now stand in the earth, silent faces marking the spots where 378 lives were taken.
Everything started at 6:30. I was running with my friends outside. We ran like 8 kilometers east in the fields. We found some farm. We found some guy that was working in this farm. We got inside to that farm. He told us, like, come hide with me. We understood he's a Bedouin, he's a Muslim guy. We didn't understand what is this situation, but we got inside. After 1 hour, the terrorists came to this farm to look for us. They tried to go inside and murder us, 5 terrorists from each side. And Yunus, the Bedouin guy that was with us, got out and tried to convince them that no Jew is hiding here. We was hiding under the building, really, like in the Holocaust. I saw them trying to go inside, and I was hiding in my country, and Yunus did this step to try to convince them no Jew is hiding here, I'm alone, leave me alone. It took him like 10 minutes to convince them no one is here, and only after 10 minutes they left the farm, and 2 hours after that we got out of that farm. The people rescued us.
The Bedouin rescuer told it plainly. He saw people in danger and rushed to help, even knowing it could cost him everything.
I did what needed to be done. People were running toward my farm, begging for help as terrorists hunted them. I couldn't turn them away or leave them to fend for themselves, so I brought them into my home and promised I would protect them to the end. Even at the risk to my own life, I went out alone to speak to the terrorists and try to mediate.
Sharaka, an organization that brings together young leaders from Israel and the Arab and Muslim worlds to foster peace, interfaith understanding, Holocaust education, and real people-to-people ties, sees this work as a calling.
I wake up every day and I'm a religious practicing Jewish person, and I say Modani, thank you God that I found my job, because specifically since October 7th, this gave me the hope. I wake up and I see voices from the Middle East, and here I see a group of Muslim leaders that are here to learn, about Jewish history, about what happened during the Holocaust, about what happened, on October 7th, 2023.
Her message to Israelis and to Jews everywhere was to listen beyond the noise of rejection and notice the quieter, expanding community of allies in the region.
I really welcome Israelis and Jewish people around the world to do is to be hopeful a little bit, that there are so many people that actually stand with us, that are allies of Jewish people, allies of the state of Israel to some extent as well, that you just don't know about, because the most vocal people are a minority of people in the Arab and Muslim world who are against us.
Another key voice was Shirina Drame, an educator and community builder from the Bronx who founded the Islamic Leadership School in New York after 9/11, creating a place where Muslim youth can learn, belong, and grow as both Americans and Muslims. The message she shared in Israel was the same one she teaches her students.
We're not here to take sides. We're not about sides at all. We are Muslims, and therefore we must stand for peace and all of humankind, because if you kill one person in Islam, it is as if you kill all mankind.
Her appeal was both moral and practical, a call to rouse communities numbed by polarization.
We have to open minds, hearts, and ears, and we need to wake up.
The mission arrived at a critical moment for Jews worldwide.
We are created to serve different purpose. At this juncture in our lives, we believe that the purpose in which you were created is to do this, to leave New York, travel all the way to come to the Holy Land, to assure them that no matter what happens, New York stands with you. New York shows solidarity with you.
Don't take away from the Jews' atrocity. And coming from here, I said we could use the Jews' template in promoting, letting people know that don't forget it, because it could happen again.
From the site of the Nova Musical Festival, Georgia Valente reported for the Media Line.
News needs trained journalists. The Media Line, the first American nonprofit news agency covering the Middle East, has mentored scores of students from prestigious American universities and around the globe. We are one of the best kept secrets. Universities are partners. Students receive credit. In order to bring you trusted news, we need support for our future journalists. Please make your tax-deductible gift today. Go to themedialine.org.
Up next, Yariv Becher. Yariv Becher is the Vice President of Business Development for Startup Nation Central in Israel. Thank you so much for joining me here at the Media Line to talk about what's happening between Saudi Arabia and Israel. MBS, the Prince of Saudi Arabia, has just talked about the possibilities of normalization with the Jewish state. He said, of course, that it would be based on a path towards a Palestinian state. So we really get that all in properly. What is happening? What does Israel need? What does Saudi Arabia need? What do they need from each other?
Saudi Arabia is a leading economic force in the region and globally. It is responsible for a lot of the resources that are needed worldwide. It is, I think it is leading the way in the region in terms of how they are envisioning implementing innovation. There are other countries that are doing similar things in the region, like the UAE, and other countries as well. But Saudi Arabia, in terms of their size, in terms of the resources that they are investing, and also I think the journey that they're doing, the pace in which transformation is happening there, the fact that they already attained 7 years before their goal to have 50% of the economy not be dependent on oil and natural resources, that is the other 50% is going to be driven by innovation and technology and upskilling of the population there. A lot of it is data driven. A lot of it is AI. These are Israel's strengths and assets, and it's a great opportunity for the innovation ecosystem in Israel to integrate, to take part there, and to base the relations of these two countries once they happen on innovation and technology.
Yariv, you're really talking about the fact that their needs are to diversify. 2030's vision is that it's not just about oil. They do need other ways within the Saudi Arabian kingdom to be able to look towards the future and be one of the world's leaders. That's their goal. So you bring up a good point. You're talking about things that Israel is good at. I want to talk to you about what you can share today things you may not be able to share companies, but Israel's involved in high tech, Israel's involved in things in health and technology and water. What has been happening beneath the surface? Because I think that's what everyone's curious about.
There are things going on in both directions. Okay, there is funding that might not be invested directly, but through other channels, investment opportunities for Saudis in Israeli tech. And the sort of solutions and innovation, I think, first of all, it's important to mention that the innovation ecosystem in Israel is quite diverse. Okay, people tend to think of cyber and defense. These are, by the way, some of the things that are going on under the radar. But there's much more. There are more health tech related companies in Israel than there are cybersecurity companies. Energy, what used to be called climate, now we're looking at energy needs. So, by the way, a deal that actually was published is SolarEdge, one of Israel's leading energy related companies that actually, again, through subsidiaries, but is doing business in Saudi Arabia. So, in their infrastructure and their mega projects, okay, where they have energy needs, if it's in agriculture, if it's in water, as you can imagine, Saudi Arabia being in the region, water needs are essential. A lot of innovation in water. These are the areas where we see conversations and also some deals happening.
What is Israel seeking from the Saudis?
I think it's a multilateral approach or a multi-layer approach. Okay, first of all, it's a big economy and a big market. It's the only Arab country that is part of the G20. So definitely there is an economic opportunity there. There is an opportunity to scale. Israel is a small country, a small market, and companies need partners to help them scale up, not just be the startup nation. So there's an opportunity to scale. And if we go up one layer, from a national perspective, it's important to have economic exchange. And relations are built on trade and commerce between countries. That is usually like the pathfinders or the trailblazers of relations between countries. It's economic exchange. And once we're able to create that in a mutually beneficial way, that will enable the relations between the countries to grow.
When you look at the neighbors, Israel's neighbors, in some cases this worked and in some cases it didn't. The UAE was a good example. And it's a case in point where you still see even athletes going to Israel, from the Israel to the UAE and participating. You see that business never stopped, flights never stopped. The UAE, we know, never stopped them during the war between Hamas and Israel. It doesn't always trickle down to the people. You don't always see, and I always bring this up, you don't see the Emiratis flooding Israel. It's just not happening. Do you see a point in time where this will change, where you will see Saudis coming on planes from the kingdom, from Saudi Arabia, and visiting Israel?
The short answer is yes. The longer answer is definitely yes. There were Emiratis that were visiting Israel over the past year. Perhaps they didn't get a lot of, obviously, it didn't get a lot of publicity for obvious reasons, but they did come.
The numbers were low. They were, even if they
Of
came,
course,
they were
the numbers were
not
low.
many.
I know.
Right.
Listen, at the end of the day, we had 70 years or we didn't have 70 years of diplomatic relations. There are misconceptions. There is a lot of sensitivity. Israelis tend to be, more risk takers and that is part of the reason that the innovation ecosystem in Israel is so developed. So yeah, we have a new frontier to go to, and we will go there, and we want to be accepted. For them, it's a bit more sensitive and more gradual, and it's also a cultural difference. And again, I really believe that the business opportunities, most of the delegations that we did see coming from the UAE before October 7th, and also Bahrain and Morocco, were business delegations. These are the trailblazers. And then afterwards, once you have that, and people come here because they have opportunities and they get to know Israelis, and then we see it, they will see that we're not as threatening as they perhaps believe. Then they will come again to visit, and they will be in Tel Aviv, and they will tell their friends, and that is when they understand that it's a tourist destination for them. But, and again, the asset that we have, what we bring them is that innovation. And they come here to find the opportunities, to find the solutions that could help them address the challenges that they have, the economic opportunity, the financial opportunities in investing in Israel. And they come for that, and that creates the infrastructure for larger people-to-people exchange.
Yariv, you worked in the Ministry of Economy for over a decade and as a commercial attaché both in the United Kingdom and also in the Midwest in the United States. How would you compare what's happening in terms of Middle Eastern countries? It's a different kind of dynamic. Can you share a little bit on a personal level? What's the difference?
My answer is going to be a bit simplified and perhaps a bit coarse, but it's to make a point, okay? I think that in Western culture, you get to know people by doing business with them. You come to a business meeting, you do a deal, you build trust. In the region, it's the other way around. You build trust and then you do business. You need to come and visit and get to know the people on a personal level. They will have dinner with you. They will go out. They want to invite you to their home. And once they trust you, then they will do business with you. It's just it's a cultural difference. And that is the main thing. You need to create trust, especially between two communities that basically didn't know each other and had misconceptions about each other.
Which Middle East countries have you been able to visit so far?
Abraham Accord countries, right? The UAE, Bahrain, Morocco, a number of times. I actually also visited Riyadh. The last time I was there was about 4 weeks before October 7th. And we actually had great conversations. And I think, I don't think, I know, they're waiting for the opportunity to engage with us more freely.
Well, the politics are still on the ground. You have the real politique, and each day everybody's trying to understand who's taking over in Gaza. I assume that this is going to hold up some of the closing of the deals. What do you see? What's the forecast?
I think that the period that we have now, up until normalization, is when people are, those that can, if they have dual citizenship or, going through third parties and intermediates, people are putting all their pieces in place in order to be able to do business more openly later on. Now is the time. I talked about creating that trust and familiarity. Now is the time. This is what we're doing, and this is what we see other people doing as well. Those that are able to execute deals are doing it, and there are those that are waiting for the right opportunity where it would be less sensitive and more freely done.
Yariv Becher, if you had to look at one thing that's a misconception, that the public looks at this side of the world and they can't understand the politics, can't understand what's happening in terms of President Trump saying this is going to change the way the Middle East is doing business in terms of relationships. What is it?
I think that there is definitely an opportunity for regional collaboration and much more integration of Israel in the region. We have much more aligned interest than conflicts. It's a matter of, first of all, there is the issue that the Saudis put on the table with what's going on in Gaza and the Palestinian state. And I'm not getting into politics, but once that is not a major issue, there is much more in common, and people are relating to one another.
Yariv Becher, thank you so much for your insights into what's happening on the ground between Israelis and Saudis.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Israel's edge in technology continues to come from its defense sector. Let's take a look at how Ariane has put the power of a full war room into the hands of an IDF platoon leader. A soldier studies a glowing screen as a small drone lifts off. Dust hangs in the air. On the display, colored lines and 3D contours redraw the terrain, a live view of the battlefield. What once took days now takes hours. Across Israel, this has become the new operational reality. Tools built for soldiers in the field, not just command centers. These compact digital systems let frontline units plan, map, and decide in real time, even without communications or GPS. It's part of a wider shift called Tech for Defense, bringing commercial innovation to combat. At ASIO headquarters in Kfar Saba, CEO Tomer Malchi demonstrates the system.
So this is our Orion management platform. It was designed as a simple tool for commanders to manage their mission and execute it much faster and intuitively with zero training.
On screen, a flat map folds into 3D. Targets populate, contour lines rise, as if the ground itself were moving.
This connects to the links, which is our personal commander's enhanced vision aid, that you hold it like this and you look at it from here. It has a thermal camera, a day camera, and a laser rangefinder. It augments in real life everything you see on the Orion. It augments here that you could see on a live video feed.
The mission unfolds digitally. Terrain analysis lights the display, green for cover, red for exposure. The interface looks simple, but it gives soldiers something they lacked: awareness, speed, and control. Malchi also holds up a compact black box, a navigation unit that lets tactical drones fly without GPS.
This is an edge-operated visual navigation and positioning system designed specially for tactical aerial vehicles, Group 1, Group 2, which are the smaller and more tactical ones. It has to be small, it has to be compact, it has to run on the edge very, very rapidly in order for it to do its job without communication, without GPS.
Thousands of these systems are now in service with Israeli infantry and special units. In the Kfar Saba lab, engineers turn drone footage into 3D models within hours, maps that previously took days.
All of those are aimed to increase and to boost the independence, the autonomy, and the simplicity of the tactical battalion-level operation, where we want to increase and enhance all of those situational awareness, command and control, and of course the the mission planning and execution of tactical missions.
For Malchi, speed serves a purpose beyond innovation. The goal is simple: saving lives. The technology is not about winning war so much as bringing soldiers home and turning chaos into clarity. Troops advance with the system in hand, drones scan above, real-time data guides each step. From days to hours, and in war, that difference changes everything. From Kfar Saba, Israel, Gabriel Caladro reported for the Media Line. Thank you for joining this edition of Facing the Middle East, where we work to uncover the realities of one of the world's most contested regions. We invite you to follow our daily reporting from our seasoned journalists across the Middle East and to see firsthand what journalism is truly about. Visit themedialine.org for news you need to know and trust.